Welcome to episode 13. This is Ty's Wrestling World. It is time for my Raw review for October 20th, 2014. I know this is a little late. This is the next day. This is Tuesday, actually. But I just finished watching Raw. I was busy last night. So let's get right to it. Raw kicks off with a cell getting lowered and the Authority making their way to the ring without Stephanie McMahon. She was not there tonight. Tripp says tonight will be a night where he can be proud of. He hypes tonight's main event, which is a 2-on-3 handicap street fight. Seth Rollins, Kane, and Randy Orton against Cena and Ambrose. And he brags about winning the most Hell in a Cell matches, which has done. Um, Rollins and Orton both argued, saying their match was the main event, which has already been stated that Orton Cena will be the main event of Hell in a Cell, which I think it should be Rollins and Ambrose. I'm just saying. Tripp said the Authority will always win, and it will become an that's for business. Also, a new stipulation has been added to the Randy Orton Cena match. The winner will challenge Brock Lesnar for the WWE World Heavyweight title. So, I guess we're going to see Brock sooner than we thought. Next match, we have the United States Champion Sheamus teaming up with the former tag team champions, the Usos, versus the current tag team champions, Goldust and Stardust, and it was supposed to be Miz, but Miz subbed out for Damien Mizdow. Damien Mizdow, Stardust, and Goldust get the win with Mizdow rolling up the United States Champion Sheamus. What a upset! I thought it was Sheamus when it broke. I thought Sheamus was going to win. They were going to bury Mizdow more. But since Damien Sandow's been doing this whole Mizdow character, Damien Sandow's gotten over really big, and he's more over than Miz is. And it seems like I think the best way to go with this is turn Damien Sandow face and have him turn on the Miz. So that would be to me the best way to go with that, and you maybe have Sandow win the mid-card title. I wouldn't be against it. Next match, we had Alicia Fox defeat AJ Lee with a roll-up. I'm not even going to comment on that one. I'm not going to even comment. Next, Randy Orton comes out. He starts talking about beating John Cena in the previous episode that they've had. He talks about the year 2002. He would end up getting cheap heat because of the Kansas City Royals and they go to Kansas City. He says him and Cena the Hogan and Piper of the generation. Don't really agree with that one, but he said he will go on to beat Brock Lesnar. Then he gets interrupted by his opponent at Hell in a Cell, John Cena. Cena tells him to shut his mouth. He calls Orton a future Hall of Famer, but he says he's the biggest dumbass. Cena says he's a man on a mission and he will do anything he can to get another shot at Brock Lesnar. They get interrupted by Paul Heyman. Big shocker there. See Paul there. Paul Heyman says no matter who wins the Sunday, the result will be the same. Cena will end up picking up Heyman, dropping him, but as soon as he drops him, Orton hits Cena with the RKO, but he was not done. Randy would then hit Paul Heyman with an RKO. We'll see how Brock Lesnar reacts to that. Never know. I thought this is one of the best promos by Randy Orton in the previous year. Cena, this is a comedy bit. No one cared. Paul Heyman's always great. Paul Heyman can't cut a bad promo. I don't think it's possible. Next, we had Rusev defeat Big E with the accolade. Rusev would try to rip down a U.S. flag, but a soldier comes in and gets super kicked. I don't know how I really feel about that. Like, I don't think he was a real soldier. I think it was a wrestler. A guy, a wrestler in the NXT, or I just don't see them using a real soldier. I don't see that happening. It was heat, though. It was heat. That's what it was. It reminds me a lot of Iron Sheik's heat he got back in the '80s. But it's what it is. Big Show would end up getting the ring. The fans started U.S. chants. He said Rusev had crossed the line. Rusev has hit his intention and says he is in a very dark place. Big Show says he will unleash his wrath on Rusev. And since his 15 minutes of fame, Big Show would end up going to the back, going into Rusev's locker room, and Rusev has left the building. Next, we had Brie Bella defeat Summer Rae in a god-awful match. This was just painful. Next, we had the segment of the night. Dean Ambrose would make his way to the ring with a big bag. He says he can't wait to get to the sellout Seth Rollins inside Hell in a Cell. He gets in the bag and pulls out a dummy who is dressed as Seth Rollins. Ambrose says Rollins is just a puppet just for a big paycheck from the Authority. He said at Hell in a Cell he would rip his hands off. So what did he do? He ripped the dummy's hands off. Kind of weird. So then he takes a screwdriver into the dummy's head. Then he takes a saw to the dummy. Out comes Seth Rollins with the two stooges, Joey Mercury and Jamie Noble. Rollins says Ambrose will never beat him. Ambrose calls Rollins the world's biggest sellout. Rollins says when he sold out, he did what he had to do for best for business. Rollins says he's the best part of Raw. His feud with Ambrose is the best part of Raw. I'm not going to lie with that. Then what do we know? We see a shocking appearance from the Hall of Famer Mick Foley, who knows more about Hell in a Cell matches than Mick. Basically coming out, he says this, talking about the Shield being the most dominant force in the WWE in recent years. He says he always thought Seth Rollins was a mark-out guy, but he says there's one match that Seth Rollins can't beat Dean Ambrose in, because Dean Ambrose is just crazy enough to win, and Dean Ambrose will win at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Mick Foley says he wishes them both luck, and then after Foley loses the ring, Ambrose takes Rollins out to the outside, and Rollins gets embarrassed. It was a great segment. I love the segment. Next match, we had a non-title match, Dolph Ziggler versus Cesaro, a really amazing match. What do you expect? Cesaro wins via an uppercut, and after the match, Cesaro hits the neutralizer on Ziggler. I could see them adding this to the Hell in a Cell match card. We'll get more of that. Next, we have the main event, a 3-on-2 handicap street fight match. John Cena and Dean Ambrose versus Randy Orton, Seth Rollins, and Kane. The Authority wins via an RKO on Ambrose. After the match, Seth Rollins would curb stomp Orton. Mid-match, Cell was lowered. But the real story is Seth Rollins curb stomping Randy Orton. It's really unique how they did that. I mean, I didn't think they would do that, but it is what it is. Now, let's get to the Hell in a Cell match card. Here is the match card, updated match card. Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins in a Hell in a Cell match. John Cena versus Randy Orton in a Hell in a Cell match. Nikki Bella versus Brie Bella. Loser becomes servant. Rusev versus The Big Show. Sheamus versus The Miz for the United States title. The Usos versus Stardust and Goldust for the tag team titles. AJ Lee versus Paige for the Divas title. And on the pre-show, the Mizdow TV with special guest The Miz. Hope you guys enjoyed my Raw review. Have a good day, y'all.